A paper trail is emerging of warnings about the growing threat of ISIS as far back as last winter. This comes as President Obama made a notable admission on national television, which is now raising questions about how the red flags went unheeded by the intelligence community and the White House for so long. Our report tonight from our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell.
The ISIS threat was not a secret, say intelligence leaders, to anyone watching or listening, despite what the president told 60 Minutes.
Well, I think our head of the intelligence community, Jim Clapper, has acknowledged that I think they underestimated what had been taking place in Syria.
There were alarm bells. Last January, ISIS starts gobbling up territory in Iraq. Fallujah falls. The Iraqi army collapses. Richard Engel reports.
The gains that were achieved by U.S. troops in Iraq, very hard-fought gains, have now been wiped out or are being wiped out.
A month later, Congress is told about the ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi.
His mission, as clearly stated in his own statements, is to carve out a zone of governing territory from Baghdad through Syria to Lebanon.
Frontline airs a documentary on ISIS victories in Syria.
The group wants to establish an Islamic State in Syria.
And the head of Defense Intelligence tells Congress
it's increasingly a concern that we're going to have to pay very close attention to, not only inside of Iraq, but for the whole region.
June 10th, Mosul falls. Iraq's army turns tail and runs. Richard Engel reports on Nightly News.
Some Iraqi security forces are fighting, but most appear to be stripping off their uniforms, leaving them in the streets, and abandoning their posts, weapons, and vehicles.
Now the Pentagon acknowledges just how surprised it was by that.
What surprised us, certainly from a military perspective, was how quickly they moved into Mosul over the summer, how fast that went, their progress up north, as well as just the way 4 or 5 Iraqi divisions kind of melted away.
So is this an intelligence failure, or is this a failure of policymakers all the way up to the President of the United States?
Those warnings were clear and loud, at least over the past 2 years, in my view.
Bottom line, there are 2 issues here. The White House was repeatedly warned about the ISIS threat, but despite plenty of news reports, military and intelligence officials completely misjudged the Iraqi army's ability to stand up and fight back.